Welcome to a video on weighted averages with judging, and this is page 77 in your packet. So you'll see that you are given this piece of information here, and we will use that for every problem as we work through them. So let's go ahead and just jump to number 1. The first judge believes the weighting should be 25% for taste, 25% for taste, 50% for presentation, and 25% for creativity. According to this judge, who is the winner? So we need to figure out each chef and what their score would be based on this weighting. So if we start with Chef Scott, Chef Scott, he got a 10 in taste. Remember, the taste is 25%, so we would multiply that by 0.25. Add to that the presentation, which is 10 points at 50%, and creativity, 10 points at 25%. So if I put all of those together, I would end up with a score of 10. And Scott's is pretty easy because he got 10s on everything, so it kind of will work out that way. So you should try Alex and Aaron. I'll go ahead and put their information here. So Alex got a 13 at 25%, a 4 at 50%, and a 13 at 25% for a score of 8.5. That 4 at 50% really brought Alex down. And then we have Chef Aaron, who got a 14 at 25%, an 8 at 50%, and an 8 at 25% for a final score of 9.5. So if the first judge had his way, then Chef Scott would have been the winner. Okay, and we're going to need all of this data later, so make sure you don't lose it. Then we get to Judge 2. So Judge 2 has a different idea on the weights. She thinks taste should be 50%, presentation should be 35%, and creativity should be 15%. So now we're going to refigure the winners. So again, we'll start with Scott. 10 at 50%, 10 at 35%. Remember to change all of your percents to decimals. And again, Scott earns a 10. Then we go to Alex. Get a 13 at 50%, a 4 at 35%, and a 13 at 15% for an answer of 9.85. So Alex didn't win. And then we will go to Aaron, who got a 14 at 50%, an 8 at 35%, and an 8 at 15% for a value of 11. So you can see with this, Chef Aaron is the winner. Then we go to Judge 3, who says 20% for presentation, and the other two should both be 40. Excuse me. Uh-oh, I did my math wrong. Time out. Okay, sorry about that. When I did my page the first time, I actually had them in the wrong spot. I didn't realize it said presentation first. So presentation's in the middle at 20%, taste and creativity are at 40%. So when we look at these, we'll start with Chef Scott. Again, we've got the 10s for an overall score of 10. Then we look at Alex. 13 at 40%, 4 at 20%, 13 at 40% for an overall score of 11.2. And last but not least, we have Aaron, who's got a 14 at 40%, 8 at 20%, 8 at 40% for an overall score of 10.4. So you can see in this one, Alex is our winner. So we've got 3 different judges and 3 different winners. So in question 4, they decide, well, we'll just add, everybody weights it their own way. We'll add the overall scores, and we'll go from there. So if you look at Scott, from Judge 1, he got a 10. Judge 2, he got a 10. Judge 3, he got a 10. So Scott ends with 30 points. Alex got an 8.5 from Judge 1, a 9.85 from Judge 2, 11.2 from Judge 3, and ends up with a 29.55, which is not bad, but does not beat Scott. And then we look at Aaron, who got a 9.5, an 11, and a 10.4 for an overall score of 30.9. So you can see that Aaron would be our overall final winner, because if you add all of the weighted scores together, Aaron wins. So that's kind of a way you can use weighted averages to compare, well, cooking shows, I guess. And there you go.